Come on, bienvenue. Welcome once again to another lively discussion with Gareth Wax and Karen Bashford. We call it the Karen Bashford Empowered Mentor Show. But today we're talking about a really interesting topic that I happen to know that Karen feels quite strongly about, which is all about remembering where you came from, and more importantly, not forgetting that once we didn't have 1,000 different pills to solve our problems, that we didn't have 1,000 different specialists, one for each bone in the body, that there was a time where we looked more inward. Would you explain what you mean by that, Karen?
Okay. Well, if you look back to when we were cave people or Aborigines or North American Indians or anything like that, we always knew what was good for us. We never questioned it. We automatically went to nature, or we knew not to eat something because it was going to harm us.
But there were wise women and people like that who would signpost us.
Yes, you still had that, but you still have the ability within yourself. They weren't always available. If somebody had gone hunting or gathering fruits and whatever, they weren't necessarily there to give you the answers. You could come across something that you didn't know whether it was safe or not, but you instinctively knew that by the color of it, perhaps, or by how it looked or something like that. You instinctively knew what was good and what wasn't. And yet we've totally moved away from that.
Yeah, I've got no sense. I've got no sense personally in nature of what would do me harm, what would do me good. I'd be downing belladonna before you know it. If I wouldn't know the difference between that and a blackberry. So are you suggesting that we reclaim that in some way?
Well, this came about because I was having a conversation with a lady who was introducing me to aromatherapy, something I've often used because of my situation with the poisoning with antibiotics. I've had to learn to go back to nature and use natural things.
Understood.
And there was this realization that because even though she was using the oils and subsequent ingredients, herbal ingredients and such like, there was still this innate desire to follow the rules, which is we have to follow what we've been taught. And it made me realize just how much we have been conditioned to ignore our own bodies. And yet my whole life now, because of situations that I've been through, is based solely on what my body wants. So I don't take supplements every day, despite the fact the pharmaceutical industries, doctors and government and everyone else say you have to. Your body can survive without needing supplements every day, even though we don't have food that will provide it to us anymore because we've depleted the land. Our body still knows what it needs. And if we ask the questions of it, it will provide the answers. Hence why I don't take supplements every day.
All right. So how do we go about asking our bodies what is the right thing for us?
I love this. Finger and thumb together. Finger and thumb through. And you simply ask the question, do I need this? I don't know. What am I thinking? Paracetamol, perhaps. If you've got a headache, do I need paracetamol? So you ask the question. It will break if you don't need it. It will hold solid if you need it. So sometimes we take drugs because we think we've got a headache and we need them. But actually, there's other things that we can use to help ourselves rather than putting chemicals in, because paracetamol actually impacts our ability to send messages from the pain area to our brain.
Right.
So we're actually breaking our natural healing ability by disconnecting from our brain.
Well, pain is an indicator to the brain that that something needs to be done. And I
Yeah,
suppose if you're blocking that, then you're blocking that neural pathway, aren't you?
yeah. So there's that example, and there's a lot of natural ingredients you can get to help with pain. I use quite often lavender, just putting it on the area that's painful, mixing it with oil if you're sensitive. It will take the pain away because it naturally works with the body to reduce inflammation and therefore reduce the pain. So you can do that. Or where food's concerned, we don't know what's in food half the time. We don't know what an E something is or anything
No,
like that.
yeah, this has been a common theme, hasn't it, over the last 10, 20 years. More and more foods have a whole bunch of stuff in them that we haven't got a clue what their real effect is, and why do we need them? But we need them
Precisely.
because it. I remember I saw a breakdown of American Wonder Bread, and somebody had left it out for like 6 weeks, and it didn't get moldy, which was worrying, to say the least. And it turned out that over the years, they initially bleached it to get it whiter, but the bleach itself left a bad flavor. So they had something else to disguise that flavor. But that in turn had a knock on effect. So they added this, but then it needed something to make sure it flowed nicely when you poured it from the bag to mix it into the stuff, and on and on and on. By the end of it, you've got a list of ingredients as long as they are, most of which are there just to improve supposed appearance or the way in which it fitted in a bag or any of these things. None of them to improve how wholesome it was, what benefits we got, and it almost negotiated all the benefits of this so-called food out, and it's nowadays listed as a non-food item.
Hmm.
What? It
And
just
yet,
beggars belief.
and yet that's what we're putting in our bodies as food.
Right.
How's that serving our body? How is that supporting our body?
Well, it isn't, frankly. It isn't.
No, but
I,
your
I,
body knows what it wants. So ask it. You simply have to ask the question using the muscle test. Yes, it takes a while to get used to it. But this is what I had to do going through a supermarket when I'd reacted to the antibiotics. I had to go through a muscle test everything before I even thought of purchasing it because my body would go, no, don't even go there. Or it would fall over to say yes because it was like, oh, I want whatever's in this. This is going to be good for me. But we can all do it. It doesn't take a minute to simply put your finger and thumb together, put the other one through, and ask the question, is this going to be something I want? Or is
so,
it something I need?
so do we have to go back to a fruit and veg and straight from the source meat diet if we're going to do that? Would you
No,
be recommending that?
I would recommend it simply because it is far healthier for you because we just do not know what's in our food. I can
No.
buy a tin of something and think, oh, great, it's a tin of beans or whatever. But then you start looking at the ingredients and you're thinking, but it's more than beans. It's more than just water and salt or something
Yeah.
like that. There's a lot
Yeah.
more to it.
Yes.
Why would I want to use something like that apart from the fact it's in tin and tin over time degrades and goes into the food?
Right.
Why would I want to use that? And we do not realize that our body actually absorbs all that metal, whether it's from tin or anything else. We absorb it into our bodies and it gets stored. Aluminium is proven to cause Alzheimer's because it stores in the brain. So if we go back to natural food, yes, it might take longer to cook, but it'll be a darn sight better for you.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
we've got
I
all this wisdom which we're not utilizing.
well, I've over the last 6 months stopped buying meats from supermarket. For instance, I buy from a local butcher, and he pretty much, I see what goes into everything from scratch there, and we buy fruit and veg from the farm thing nearby. What do you call it? It's like a farmer's market every week. We buy smaller amounts and we cook what we actually need, as opposed to creating a whole bunch of stuff. And we're trying to, this is not a snowflake trying to avoid the modern day. It's just that I got fed up with feeling ill and tired all the time, and
that's the impact.
I've certainly picked up a lot since I've moved that way.
It's the impact that we don't realize. Even the creams we use on our bodies, do we really know what's in them? The shampoo we use, and even shower gel. Right. Do we really know what's in them and what they can likely to do to our bodies?
Right. No, probably not, actually.
I'd love to take them to one of the original cavemen and say, what do you think of this?
They would probably look in dismay. What are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah.
No, it's in a world that desperately wants to elongate lives and to be pain-free and whatever. It seems to me that instead of solving it at source, that we kind of put stuff on the outside to prevent ourselves from being able to see the corruption, if you see what I mean. Which
and if
is
you want
sad.
if you want to live longer, start listening to your body, because your body will tell you what not to do and what to do. And that's a challenge, simply because we're not used to doing that. But I had no option. But the wisdom I gained from doing it is phenomenal. I know what not to eat. My body will tell me, don't eat it. I don't even go down the aisles that sell certain meats because I can't touch them. My body goes, forget that. And yet every now and then I'll go and buy bacon because there's something in bacon my body is seeking.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. Your body will tell you because you suddenly get a craving. And I'm not talking about the chocolate craving, which is your serotonin being raised. It's genuine food or substances within certain foods that your body seeks.
But you know that chocolate's on the poisons list. It's actually a poison. It's just that the lethal dose is several hundred pounds of it. But absolutely. The reason why you get that serotonin push is that it's part of the body's reaction to getting rid of it out of your system. Same with alcohol, actually. The reason why you get the effects of alcohol is the body trying to get rid of it. It seems to me we need to go back to basics.
We definitely do. And you'll live longer. You'll certainly live longer because you're not putting all this rubbish in your body or on your body that is going to harm it. We create our own illnesses because of what we do to ourselves.
It's a sad state of affairs that we are so busy trying to make the outside shell look pretty that we forget the effect that we're having on the inner portions. Does that make sense? I'm sure it made sense in my head.
Yes, it certainly makes sense. Absolutely. And the thing about it is we don't realize that sometimes what we are doing is actually creating a lot of inflammation in our body. And when you create inflammation, you put too much pressure on your organs. And consequently, they can't work effectively for a start off. So how can you possibly be helping yourself if you're then proceeding to eat things and use things that are causing your body to become inflamed?
It's a crazy state of affairs. Karen, to wind up today's discourse, would you summarize your position on this?
My position is go back to the basics. It serves you far more than anything we've ever been taught or educated on, is one way of putting it.
Look, I thank you guys for sticking with us through this. And it may sound like that either of us is getting onto orange boxes and preaching, but there's something to be said for thinking back what our caveman women ancestors would have made of our desperate urge to throw 1,000 ingredients into something that should really only have one. And I urge you to think about moving away from the ultra processed stuff that you both put in your body and put on your body, and look for more simpler solutions, because I think your body will thank you over time. And as Karen says, you'll probably live longer and happier lives. And healthier lives. Until next week. Before we go, though, I forgot. I need to do my usual diatribe. Now, look, there is an excellent podcast. I know it's excellent because I edit it. It means I have to listen to it. It's pretty good, actually. It's called the Empowered Women's Life Leaders Podcast. If you follow that link, you'll be taken to the Podbean site wherein you can listen to a whole bunch of them. We need to think about moving to our second series. We're still on series 1, but I think it's a good time to talk to people about how they should look at themselves. I think people spend so much time pulling themselves apart without realizing that there are really good things out there that they can do which don't involve pulling themselves apart. And also, if you're thinking to yourself, this woman talks a lot of sense, because she does, then perhaps you could start your empowerment journey, your self-empowerment journey, that to improve your own personal wellness. And that's both mental and physical. So visit KarenBashford.com and just book a little bit of time with her. It will cost you nothing, and I guarantee you'll come away from it learning more about yourself. Until next time, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and let's look after each other's mental health. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.